Hello, everyone. Today, we will delve into the history of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, commonly known as NATO. From the tensions of the Cold War to the changes in modern security, let's explore how NATO has evolved and influenced the world. Let's get started. After the end of World War II, the international situation changed dramatically. The victorious powers, the United States and the Soviet Union, emerged as the two superpowers, each promoting different ideologies. Meanwhile, European countries bore deep scars from the war, with many falling under Soviet influence. In 1948, a coup by the Communist Party in Czechoslovakia led to a government established with Soviet support. This shocked the Western nations, prompting them to feel the need to counter the spread of communism. Thus, in April 1949, 12 countries gathered in Washington, D.C. to sign the North Atlantic Treaty, marking the beginning of NATO. The establishment of NATO signified the onset of the Cold War. Particularly important was Article 5 of the treaty, which states that an attack on one member is considered an attack on all. This strengthened the collective defense posture of the Western nations against Soviet expansion. Immediately after NATO's formation, the Cold War intensified rapidly. In 1950, the Korean War broke out, and the U.S. felt the need to proceed with the rearmament of West Germany, though France and Belgium opposed this. France proposed the establishment of a European defense community, but this plan was ultimately abandoned, and in 1955, West Germany joined NATO. In the 1960s, nuclear arms deployment between the U.S. and the Soviet Union increased, enhancing nuclear deterrence. The construction of the Berlin Wall in 1961 became a symbolic event of the Cold War. By the late 1960s, tensions between NATO and the Warsaw Pact deepened, leading to an arms race. The 1970s saw significant changes within NATO. French President Charles de Gaulle opposed the U.S.-led NATO military structure and decided to withdraw French forces from NATO. Consequently, NATO's military headquarters moved to Brussels, Belgium. In the 1980s, the Soviet economy faced severe issues, and the military intervention in Afghanistan became a quagmire. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 made the end of the Cold War seem imminent. Following negotiations between Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev and Western nations, a unified Germany joined NATO, and the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, marking the end of the Cold War. However, NATO continued to exist and expanded its mission. Post-Cold War, NATO began addressing regional conflicts and humanitarian assistance. In the 1990s, NATO engaged in airstrikes and peacekeeping operations to address the conflicts in Yugoslavia. Notably, in 1999, NATO conducted extensive airstrikes in Kosovo, leading to Yugoslavia's withdrawal from the region. Entering the 21st century, NATO faced new challenges. Following the September 11, 2001, terrorist attacks in the U.S., NATO invoked Article 5 for the first time and commenced the fight against terrorism. In Afghanistan, NATO helped overthrow the Taliban regime and deployed the International Security Assistance Force. Later, during the Iraq War, NATO cooperated with the U.S. to support the establishment of a new government.